The 1997 1 ruble coin is more than a collectible or a symbol, it is also a textbook lesson in economic transition. When nations undergo currency reforms, coins and notes become more than just tools for trade, they become instruments of policy. In Russia's case, the redenomination of 1997 was an effort to erase the scars of hyperinflation and restore confidence in the ruble. Throughout history, currency reforms have been used to stabilize economies: France after World War II, Germany after its post-war collapse, and several Latin American nations during debt crises. Russia's experience mirrored these transformations but carried unique challenges. The Soviet Union had collapsed so rapidly that new political institutions were still taking shape. The banking system was weak, foreign investment uncertain, and corruption widespread. Introducing a new ruble was a bold step that risked public distrust if not handled carefully. The 1 ruble coin, circulating alongside new banknotes, reminded citizens daily of this economic turning point. By removing 3 zeros from prices, the reform made currency easier to use and less intimidating. Instead of paying 1,000 rubles for bread, people paid 1 ruble, even though the real value didn't change overnight. This psychological reset was crucial. It told the public that the state had reigned in chaos, even if deep structural problems remained. Economists studying this period often point to the 1997 ruble as evidence of how symbols influence public perception. A stable, well-designed coin reinforced the message of monetary discipline. People believed the ruble might hold value again, making them more likely to use it rather than flee to dollars or barter, both of which were common in early post-Soviet Russia. Although the 1998 Russian financial crisis soon followed, triggered by falling oil prices, debt defaults, and political turmoil, the groundwork laid by the currency reform eventually helped Russia recover. The experience proved that money is not just economics, it is also psychology, culture, and trust embodied in metal and paper. The 1997 ruble coin is a reminder of this lesson. Currencies succeed when they carry both credibility and meaning. For modern policymakers, it demonstrates how even the smallest denomination coin can contribute to a national narrative of strength and renewal. Paragraph 8: A bridge between past, present, and future, around 1,000 words. Perhaps the most fascinating aspect of the 1997 1 ruble coin is its role as a cultural bridge. On one side lies Russia's imperial past, a history of czars, orthodox traditions, and imperial expansion, symbolized by the double-headed eagle. On the other lies its modern identity, a democratic, though turbulent, republic emerging from the shadow of the Soviet Union. The coin visually connects these two eras, showing that Russia did not start from zero in 1991, but rather continued a long historical arc. The choice of emblem was deliberate. To fully appreciate the 1997 1 ruble coin, we must understand how Russia's entire coinage system evolved after the Soviet collapse. In the early 1990s, the Russian Federation inherited a currency system in chaos. The old Soviet rubles, still bearing communist symbols, were rapidly losing value, yet remained in circulation because the government lacked the infrastructure to replace them immediately. People were carrying stacks of nearly worthless notes just to purchase bread and milk. In this atmosphere of economic collapse, confidence in money itself had to be rebuilt from the ground up. The Central Bank of Russia decided that redenomination was inevitable. In 1997, the new ruble was introduced at a ratio of 1 new ruble equals 1,000 old rubles. This move simplified transactions and bookkeeping, but its real purpose was psychological: to restore trust in the national currency. A coin worth 1 ruble no longer looked ridiculous when compared to banknotes in the thousands. Ordinary citizens could once again believe that their money had meaning. The 1997 coin issue also came with a broader reorganization of Russian currency. The denominations included kopek coins, 1, 5, 10, 50 kopecks, and ruble coins, 1, 2, 5 rubles, accompanied by newly designed banknotes. The imagery deliberately avoided Soviet themes, instead focusing on Russian architecture, history, and symbols of sovereignty. The double-headed eagle on the 1 ruble coin was the centerpiece of this effort, a unifying emblem meant to tie the currency to Russia's long imperial tradition rather than its recent Soviet past. Internationally, this was seen as a sign that Russia wanted to present itself as a modern, independent state rooted in its own unique history. Western economists, however, were skeptical at first. They wondered whether a mere redesign of coins and notes could restore financial stability in a nation still grappling with massive debt, political instability, and economic reforms that were painful for ordinary people. Yet, in the long term, this shift in coinage became a cornerstone of Russia's economic stabilization. By circulating millions of newly minted coins bearing a powerful national symbol, Russia signaled to its people and to the world that it was reclaiming control of its identity and its money. The 1997 1 ruble coin was not just a piece of currency, it was a message that Russia would survive, adapt, and rise again. Paragraph 5, The Collector's World and Rarity Factors, around 1,000 words. While the 1997 1 ruble coin was produced in huge numbers, the world of coin collecting adds a fascinating twist. Not all coins are created equal, and even in a massive issue, small variations can make certain coins highly valuable. Collectors, known as numismatists, carefully examine coins for mint marks, production errors, and subtle differences in engraving. The standard 1997 ruble is common and still circulates, but rare varieties have been documented. For example, some coins are not just pieces of metal, they are fragments of history, silent witnesses to the rise and fall of nations, and symbols of identity that survive long after governments crumble. Today, we explore the story of a Russian coin minted in 1997, a coin with a face value of just 1 ruble, yet carrying a weight far greater than its denomination. This coin appeared at a turning point in Russia's history. The Soviet Union had collapsed just a few years earlier, leaving behind economic turmoil, political uncertainty, and a desperate search for a new national identity. Amid these turbulent times, the Central Bank of Russia issued this ruble, featuring the ancient double-headed eagle, an emblem that predates communism, predates the USSR itself, and reaches deep into the roots of Russian civilization. What does this coin represent? Why did Russia choose to revive this centuries-old symbol at that specific moment? And how has this seemingly ordinary piece of currency become an artifact valued by collectors and historians around the world? This is the untold story of the 1997 1 ruble coin, a small object that reflects an entire nation's struggle, survival, and rebirth. Paragraph 1, Historical Background and Symbolism, around 1,000 words. The early 1990s were a time of immense upheaval in Russia. The Soviet Union, once a superpower, dissolved in 1991, fragmenting into multiple independent republics. For ordinary Russian citizens, this collapse meant skyrocketing inflation, empty store shelves, unpaid wages, and the sudden disappearance of an economic system they had known all their lives. The currency that once bore the hammer and sickle of communism rapidly lost its value, and Russia needed not only financial stability but also a new national identity. It was against this backdrop that the 1997 1 ruble coin was born. The Central Bank of Russia, determined to modernize its currency system, redesigned both its banknotes and coins to reflect the new reality of a post-Soviet Russia. The most striking feature of this coin is its reverse side, the double-headed eagle. This symbol, far older than the USSR, dates back to the time of the Byzantine Empire and was adopted by the rulers of Russia during the reign of Ivan III in the late 15th century. The double-headed eagle looks east and west simultaneously, symbolizing Russia's vast geography, cultural duality, and its historical ambition to be both a European and an Asian power. For centuries, this emblem appeared on royal standards, military flags, and coins of the Tsars. After the Bolshevik Revolution in 1917, it was replaced by the hammer and sickle, the emblem of communism. But in 1997, just 6 years after the Soviet Union ceased to exist, Russia resurrected this ancient eagle, deliberately rejecting the Soviet past and reaching further back into its imperial heritage. The message was clear: Russia wanted to reconnect with its pre-Soviet identity and project an image of strength and see.